Week to remind you, the South African Police Service appeared before the Commission of Gender Equality, or for Gender Equality. The two parties had met back in September last year, but the Commission felt it was taking the SAPS far too long to implement recommendations regarding cases of gender-based violence, sexual harassment, and also gender discrimination. While the acting chairperson of the organisation, Tamara Mathebula, joins us now on Newsnight. Tamara, good to have you with us. Good evening. Why is it taking so long? What's your understanding?
We had to call the SAPS back using our powers that are vested on the Commission for Gender Equality, Section 11(1)(e), to actually call them to appear before the Commission for the second time. The first meeting was on the 30th of September, 25th, and then the second meeting was on the 30th May. Because we felt that as the Commission, during our discussions last year, we agreed on a number of recommendations that had to be implemented within a period of 3 months. And we used our legal unit just to check and monitor whether those recommendations have been implemented. And to our surprise, we felt that the recommendations were never implemented.
At all, or not to your satisfaction?
Not to our satisfaction. And I think the first thing that we looked at was the fact that the DNA test results were taking too long for the results to come back, of which those results are actually used for gender or domestic violence-related cases. And because of the delays, we will find that some of the cases had to be thrown out of court. So we called them to really find out why was it taking them so long.
Would it be unfair to say, as a result of, forgive me, Tamara, for jumping in, because these DNA tests are not being done timeously, it's justice denied to those victims? Is
definitely.
That fair?
I agree with you. It's definitely justice denied.
What are the
justice delayed is justice denied.
What do the police say to something as serious as DNA testing?
So the police said that, yes, they were actually experiencing some challenges when it comes to some of the kits. You will find that some of the police stations did not have the kits, and some of the police stations really had administrative issues. There were not enough cars to actually take the tests to the laboratories. So we agreed that within a period of 21 days, we should actually look at the turnaround of the DNA results themselves. And we should make sure that the kits are all over. They are dispatched in all the police stations.
How did you come up with that calendar? Where did the 21 days come from? Because it's quite a serious matter to handle.
Yes.
What was the Commission basing that on? We're going to give you 21 days to get this done. Is that global standard? Is that
No. It's not the Commission that actually give them the 21 days. It's them. I think their forensic side actually is looking at all of that, and they have then decided that they are going to speed up the turnaround time to 21 days.
Let's talk. So that's the gender-based violence, incredibly serious, and it seems that the police have not covered themselves in glory on that. I'm going to ask when next you're going to be meeting with the police, but we'll keep that for a moment.
Okay.
Let's talk about sexual harassment. I imagine this is very much in the SAPS workplace.
Yes.
Very serious for those working there. What was the problem? How bad is the issue, and how long and recommendations did you give them to get that right?
The issue is pretty bad. You will remember that the SAPS is, initially it's a man's world. And again, with women coming in, definitely there is bullying, there is sexual harassment reports reported to CGE as well. And we looked at all of that. But first of all, we thought perhaps the starting point is to actually look at the training aspect of it, to say that, with the new police officers that are coming in, they should be trained on sexual harassment and how to handle bullying in the workplace. And we looked at the fact that we will look at the training aspect of it, but also we would look at who sits over the disciplinary hearings, because we felt that most of the disciplinary hearings were handled by male police. And if a woman police comes and reports, you'll find that the whole panel is actually male.
So on the sexual harassment concern, what's the recommendation that was made? You said the training. How long did they have for that? And where, as you and I sat here tonight, Tamara, is SAPS on that? Is it any better? Are they moving at least in the right direction? Or are we going to have this discussion again in 3 months?
We don't want to have other discussions in 3 months. We will be involved in the training and in the review of their training manuals to look at the fact that this is incorporated. The second thing is, I think the police commissioner, the generals, were actually saying that from now on we are going to develop a modus operandi that will look at a strategy of investigating these sexual harassment cases. We will investigate and we will make sure that we nip the whole situation on the bud. So there was a promise that it's never going to happen again.
Just as I finally say goodbye to you for the moment, Tamara, what is now the timeline for this? Clearly, you were saying to me, start of our discussion, it's not looking good for how it's been managed so far as to how they've put these policies into place. When is the next discussion with SAPS? When does that happen?
We have given ourselves 2 months until the end of July to have the discussions, but it's not going to be discussions. We are looking for reports to be submitted in terms of progress that has been made with regards to the implementation of the recommendations. We will be visiting some of the centers, including the training centers, within the period of 2 months, just to look at the training aspect. We will make sure that those modus operandis, as well as the national nodal points, are developed and they are created. In 2 months' time, we would definitely meet them.
It's a tight deadline. I'm sure we'll be speaking again. Tamara, thank you very much for coming in to speak to us this evening. That was Tamara Mathebula, the acting chairperson of the Commission for Gender Equality, joining us here on Newsnight.